Okay, so I'm going to try and be more awake for this one, but this is Proverbs 5. This is actually today. Today I kind of had a recover day. I slept in until like 10:30. Then I got up, did some few things for my mom while she was gone, and then I ate and just kind of relaxed. Played a little piano, went out and watched my dog for a little bit, and I skipped practice today, kind of recovering. I hurt my feet when I was at the pool yesterday. When I got home, they were cracked, raw, and bleeding, so it hurt to walk in. It still hurts today. So I'm gonna try and run tomorrow, but hopefully they're better, because otherwise it's gonna hurt when I run, and I need to run. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it, which will be fantastic. So actually, okay, this is very short and sweet, so this is a good one. All right, chapter 5. My son, be attentive to my wisdom, and incline your ear to my understanding, that you may keep discretion, and your lips may guard knowledge. For the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps follow the path to Sheol. She does not ponder the path of life. Her ways wander, and she does not know it. And now, O sons, listen to me, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Keep your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house, lest you give your honor to others, and your years to the merciless. Lest the strangers take their fill of your strength, and your labors go to the house of a foreigner. And at the end of your life you groan, when your flesh and body are consumed, and you say, how I hated discipline, and my heart despised reproof. I cannot speak. I did not listen to the voice of my teachers, or decline. Apparently I can't speak, because that is not decline, that is not recline. I have no idea what I said, but I did not listen to the voice of my teachers, or incline my ear to my instructors. I am at the brink of utter ruin in the assembled congregation. Drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well. Should your springs be scattered abroad, streams of water in the streets, let them be for yourself alone, and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. A lovely deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast fill you at all times with delight. Be intoxicated always in her love. Why should you be intoxicated, my son, with a forbidden woman, and embrace the bosom of an adulteress? For a man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths. The iniquities of the wicked ensnare him, and he is held fast in the cords of his sin. He dies for lack of discipline, and because of his great folly he is led astray. Oh boy, this is gonna be interesting. Alright, so in the first part, you see again how Proverbs is set up with a father talking to his son, and you see that he's saying, be attentive to my wisdom, incline your ear to my understanding, that you may keep discretion, and your lips may guard knowledge. So he's saying, listen to me, and keep what I say, and use it for future reference. And then he goes on to say, for the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. I'll stop there. We're just going to go a few verses to a verse at a time. So right there it's saying, forbidden woman is like anyone you lust after. And this is not like your wife or your girlfriend. This is like a person who is outside of your relationship. So if you're like in a relationship and you see a different girl and you just lust after her, that's what it's saying. That's what a forbidden woman is. And it says, the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. So it's saying that a forbidden woman, they drip, the lips of okay. I'm gonna try and speak again. Their lips drip honey, and their speech is smoother than oil. They're very good at seducting people. And so you're easily seduced by them, and you really want them. It sounds so good, and you want that so bad. But then it says in verse 4, but in the end she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps follow the path to Sheol. She does not ponder the path of life. Her ways wander, and she does not know it. So, if you engage with her, it's kind of like, I'm going to try and put a situation up. So, say you're doing something you're not supposed to, or you're engaging with a woman and you're cheating with her on someone else. And it's so good at first, you're having the time of your life. But as soon as it ends, you're like, what am I doing? Why did I do this? And you just feel intense guilt and just hatred for your actions and yourself. And you're just so ashamed of what you've done. That's the part where it's bitter as wormwood and sharp as a two-edged sword, because she has led you to sin, and she didn't say no. She didn't say that's not right. She just let it happen. So her feet go down to death. She's bringing you down with her, because she's just as guilty as you are now. And it says in verse 6, she does not ponder the path of life. Her ways wander, and she does not know it. So she doesn't care what happens. She just is going with it. Her ways wander, and she does not know it. She doesn't care where she goes. She's just going to go with it. And when she gets to the bridge, she'll cross it when she gets to it. And then it goes on to say, now, O sons, listen to me, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Keep your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house, lest you give your honor to others and your years to the merciless, lest strangers take their fill of your strength, and your laborers go to the house of a foreigner. And at the end of your life you groan when your flesh and body are consumed, and you say, how I hated discipline, and my heart despised reproof. I did not listen to the voice of my teachers, or incline my ear to the instructors. I am at the brink of utter ruin in the assembled congregation. So that's the shame and guilt part that I was talking about. You get done cheating with her or doing stuff with her, and you're like, what am I doing? Why did I do this? This was a terrible mistake, and yet I did it. I did not listen to what I was told. I did not think before I did. And in verse 14 it says, I am at the brink of utter ruin in the assembled congregation. So think before you do, and make sure you really, really pay attention to what you're doing. Because otherwise, you'll be brought down with the seductress, and you'll be brought down in sin. And then you'll be saying out loud, just like verse 14, I'm at the brink of utter ruin. And that's not good at all. And a lot of us have been there. I haven't been there cheating, but in other situations, I've done things that I knew were wrong, but I didn't care until afterwards, and then I was so ashamed, and I probably shouldn't have acted the way I did towards how I felt about myself. So when I got done doing the thing, I had intense self-hatred for myself, not for my actions, for myself. And I would blame myself, and I would beat myself up about it. And I want to make sure that no one else does that, because that's not right. We're human, we all mess up. But don't beat yourself up about it, because that doesn't do anything. And I'm learning the hard way about that. Abusing yourself mentally or physically is not the way. Cutting yourself, calling yourself names, failure, stupid, worthless, useless, it does nothing. I've been there with all of that, cutting myself, calling myself names, horrible names. It's not okay. I've gotten out of most of it. I'm still working on getting rid of all of it, but it's not okay. And it's hard to just say that I screwed up, ask God for forgiveness, and then just say I will do better next time and try again. It's really hard to do that, but that's the best response and the only response we should have, not physically or mentally harming ourselves. Anyways, verse 15, drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well. Should your springs be scattered abroad, streams of water in the streets, let them be for yourself alone, and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth, a lovely deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast fill you at all times with delight, be intoxicated always in her love. So it's saying, how would you feel if your partner did that same thing to you? How would you feel if the same thing you were doing would have happened to you? So say you went out and cheated and it made the person feel awful, like your partner feel awful. Well, it's saying, it's putting into perspective, how would you feel if your partner cheated on you? And that's very important to think about, because if you cheat on your partner and then they cheat on you, yeah, you should be mad, but you can't be as mad because you did the same thing, but you did it first. Now, that's not justifying what they did. They're still very in the wrong. But it's putting into perspective that don't be a hypocrite. And make sure, it's basically the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. So don't do something that you wouldn't want to happen to you, is what it's saying. Then, verse 20, why should you be intoxicated, my son, with a forbidden woman, and embrace the bosom of her adulteress? Adulteress, I think. For a man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths. The iniquities of the wicked ensnare him, and he is held fast in the cords of his sin. He dies for lack of discipline, because of his great folly he is led astray. So it's saying, be very careful and hold fast to wisdom. Think before you do, because if you don't, it says in verse 22, the iniquities of the wicked ensnare him, and he's held fast in the cords of your sin, because he's drawn in and then he's trapped, and it's too late. He's already trapped in his sin. And then it says in verse 23, he dies for lack of discipline, and because of his great folly, he is led astray. So he didn't have enough discipline to say no or to turn away from the adulteress. And because of his great foolishness, he is led astray from the path of God, and he's led into sin. That's basically what it's saying. And that's not just with adultery or cheating. That's with anything we do. We'll be led astray, but we need to have discipline, and we need to be able to say no. We need to be able to deny ourselves personal pleasure with whatever that may be, through worldly things, through sexual immorality, anything like that we need to stay away from. And it's hard, but that's what it's saying. So my brain is dying. It's 11 o'clock. This is usually when I'm in bed, just on social media, catching up with friends before I go to bed, because I'm usually too busy through the day to do that. But yeah, here I am, because I didn't start at 9 o'clock videoing. I'm here now, sounding like a buffoon because my brain's not working. But my final thought for this video is, think before you do, and don't just accept sin and just accept who you are and being sinful. Do something about it. If you don't like the fact that you're sinning, pray to God and discipline yourself to don't sin. Now, I'm not saying that's easy and that I do that. I'm trying to do that, and it's very hard. So, it's not easy. I sin many times every day. And it's not good, but there's no but about it. I try my hardest, but we all fall. The important thing is we ask for forgiveness and we get back up. So my challenge is to discipline yourself, to be able to say no to lust, to be able to say no to sexual immorality, to say no when you want to cheat on your partner, when you want to commit adultery. Say no. Be able to say, this is wrong. I don't want this. Please help me, God, to stay away from this. And then don't just walk away from it. Run from it. Run away and don't look back. It's kind of my final thought. So, until tomorrow when I hopefully have a brain. Yeah. Later.